All right, we're talking to Elek Lane of Just Local Foods. And Elek, I was just wondering, obviously there's got to be a trade-off to organic farming compared to traditional farming. Otherwise, everybody do organic. So I was wondering what that trade-off is.
Sure. Well, when you say traditional farming, I'm assuming you're referring to farming that is not organic, because actually traditional farming is pretty much organic. I mean, traditionally, if you go back a couple hundred years, they weren't using chemicals and pesticides on their crops that weren't natural. But basically, long and the short of it is that organic farming is healthier and better for the environment, but you're going to end up producing less if, as compared to when you say traditional farming, when they throw all sorts of pesticides and fertilizers on the crops. They can create giant freak tomatoes that take less time to ripen, less time to grow, et cetera, et cetera. And so you can end up with basically with more food, but then the food is lower quality, and that's the essential trade-off. And it's not always the case, and sometimes there are obviously exceptions, but the basic trade-off, as you put it, is that.
All right, and then that takes care of produce, but what about as far as like beef cattle and livestock, that type of thing? Do you know anything about that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Regarding basically all meat, the feedlots and mass production farms where you can get most of your cattle, like McDonald's beef, they'll get all their cattle. That cattle is being fed primarily corn, and cows do not eat corn naturally, so it's doing all sorts of things like increasing the acidity in their stomachs, which messes with their enzymes and all sorts of things. All of the meat that we sell here has been pasture raised on grasses, and so for the cows, they're eating their natural diet. Same with the pigs, et cetera, et cetera. And the meat is basically going to be healthier because the animals are healthier because they're eating what they should be eating. And again, it's cheaper to feed them corn. It's cheaper to pump them full of antibiotics, but then the antibiotics get into the animals, obviously, and then into us through that, and they aren't healthy. You're full of chemicals, basically, when you eat non-organic meats.
So basically, organic meat is anything, any type of animal that's just allowed to just eat plain old grass like it used to be, rather than like in a large feedlot.
Yeah, essentially. There's a whole lot of debate over the terminology because there's certified organic, and to do that you have to go through a number of stringent government policies, and then you can call yourself certified organic, right? And that also includes the meat being butchered in a completely chemical-free environment. But yeah, to use the term organic loosely, for me, it means the animals are eating what they're naturally eating, and they're eating foods that aren't covered with pesticides, and also that very importantly, that the meat itself, the animals themselves are not being injected with antibiotics and other things, growth hormones, for example.
Alrighty, thank you.
Yep, hope I answered your questions.
Perfect.